You guys couldn't even hear me, man. Good to be with you guys. Happy Monday. User error. Sometimes that happens, man. User error. Well, good to see you. Good to be with you guys. Happy Monday. I see you guys are there on YouTube. Good to be with you today. And, I was saying that, uh, you know, uh, I've been in the mode today, just being with, taxes and doing tax work and then making sure people's businesses are ready. Yeah, if people thought it was their technology, right? No, it was me. It was my user error. I was doing like all this work inside of the tax season, being with people in their businesses and making sure people understand things. And, you know, um, it really is good to be with people and really get like what each and every one of us goes through, man, because it seems like I'm the only one who goes through all this stuff during tax time. I'm the only one who goes through all this stuff with my business. I'm the only one who's confused about things. That's how it seems like with certain people, really everybody that I come across, it seems like we're special in that regard, that the rain only falls on you and the stress only falls on you at these certain times. But I want you to know that it's not you, okay? This is life. This is life. And you're greater than life. You're beyond what shows up inside of life when it comes to these areas and more, man. And I get to see that every single day, how people get to create and conquer these situations and have so much clarity, so much peace of mind, so much freedom inside of their life because we master certain principles. I was being with what we're going to talk about tonight in this live stream because usually I have a specific agenda, like we planned it beforehand. So I did that. I was like, okay, we want to go this route in terms of what we're going to deliver tonight. But as I was going through things today, I said, man, it really, like, I think fundamentals are so important to life. I think fundamentals are so important to life. I don't know if you can relate to that. If you can relate to that, just put a one in the chat. If you can relate to fundamentals are important for you in your life. But that really resonates with me in terms of, how important that is for my life, like these fundamentals. And what I mean specifically, I mean that if I don't understand the basics of something, then I'm not going to understand the thing at all. No matter what level I get to, and I think I get to, it's going to hurt me in the long run if I don't master the basics. And I'm present to all of that when I get with people on a call and I see people in their communications, when I read emails and everything, and when I read messages in our systems, and I hear people when I meet them on the street, and it's all about the pain that a lot of people feel. It stems from a lack of understanding of the basics and fundamentals of life. And if only we had that simple fundamental understanding of what it is that we're up to. And then guys, just in case you didn't know, you're up to stuff. You're up to big things in life. So if you're up to big things in life, somebody asked me this earlier today, like investment. Justin, do you do like investment, like strategies? You got to talk about that type of thing. I said, in like our mastermind levels, like we get to group with a group of people, we talk about different things, like in different segments. We do talk about that. Like I don't necessarily do that yet on a business level, like with this business that we have here. I'm not a financial planner per se, you know, and I do have a philosophy that I like to use in life when it comes to investing for things. But a big part of that is fundamentals. Like we want to understand fundamentals of things. Okay. No matter what it is, we want to understand that fundamental. So when you're up to things in your business, you want to understand the fundamentals of your business so that you can deploy those fundamentals, and use those to win big time. Because though that foundation built by fundamentals is what your business gets to stand on and rely on consistently, reliably. And guess what? These are applicable to every single business. Like fundamentals, they're foundational to every single business. And these ones that I want to talk to you about tonight deal with financial literacy, fundamentals and financial literacy of business. And I think that sometimes I take it for granted that I have this basic thing understood. I call it basic, but it's not so basic when we're missing things, right? If there are gaps in it, then we can't stand on it. We can't rely on the foundation of that if there are holes in the foundation. So I want to make sure we understand those for ourselves, guys, and hopefully you're going to get a lot of value out of this call today, the time that we spend together today. Before we do that, let's get into it. In case you didn't know, now you know. That's me, Cheston Bulgin, with By the Books Consulting, CFO tax strategist, your accounting superhero. You can reach us at 888-4BTB now. That's 888-428-2669. Or you can reach us on the web at youraccountingsuperhero.com. You can reach me via email at youraccountingsuperhero. Okay. And definitely follow me on Instagram at youraccountingsuperhero. Okay. That's a really great channel to follow me on and send messages too, because if you send me messages, I might not get back to you right away, to be straight, on Instagram. But if you have a question or something like that, you have some scenario you want to shoot by me, you want to hop on a call or something like that, you can definitely reach out to me on Instagram to do that. Okay. All right. And guys, if you didn't know, like if you're in this conversation, you're watching, you're brand new to this conversation, we specialize in the accounting, the tax strategy, the technology to help you run your business in those areas. And even beyond that, with the systems and everything that you have, you run your business. So we do business advisory and fleet advisory for this group here that we're on. Okay. Pretty cool stuff. And make sure you book your session. Okay. And book your session as soon as possible for this particular group with the Truck Profit Academy, the Professional Truckers Association. Those of you who are in the trucking industry, if you want to stop wasting time and increase your profits and cash flow as soon as today, this will be the way to do it. Go to youraccountingsuperhero.com/book-and-appointment. Okay. You can hop on a call with me, all right, or a member of my team, all right, depending on the timing of that. Okay. Quick disclaimer before we get started, guys. The following is for educational purposes only and is not to be considered financial, accounting, or legal advice. Please consult your tax, accounting, and/or legal professional for specific advice. Let's get this party started, okay? I want to do some things here with you today. And there are, financial literacy. I want to go over that with you guys in this call. I think it'll be a tremendous value just for anybody to get back to the basics of financial literacy and money flow. One of the main issues that you and I will go through in a business is how to have cash flow, how to make, how to make profits turn into cash in the bank, because they're not the same thing. Okay, they're not necessarily the same thing. Profits can be cash in the bank, depending on how we move, how we manage cash flow rather, and it doesn't necessarily equal that. But the intention is to how do we turn profits into cash in the bank, and how do we get to keep that money once we get it? It really does help to understand what we're working with here. Now, I do this business inside of accounting, like for this By the Books consulting company. I chose this business because I've gravitated toward doing like the financial aspect of the business because I really understand how much it matters to master finances in business. It keeps me in the conversation, okay, for myself. It does. It keeps me present to like what's important for me in life in terms of business management fundamentally, and it keeps me present to like financial management because a lot of the same principles that apply in business apply in life too. So I'm constantly pulled into that, the responsibility of what it is that I'm doing. It's one thing, by the way, to know exactly what to do. Is another thing to implement what to do. It takes something to do that. Okay. And I think that because you're here in the conversation tonight, you're one of those people that says, okay, I want to actually implement this with integrity. I want to shift my life in this area. I want to master this area of my life. So why not understand it like fundamentally, break it down so I know exactly what to do, because when I get it, it's a done deal. If that's you, you can go ahead and put a 2 in the chat. If that's you, if you put a 2 in the chat, that's you. You want to actually master this aspect of your business and your life. You want to take it on and actually apply it with integrity, and that's you. Put a 2 in the chat. All right. Now I'm doing that in certain points of this conversation because there's something to say about how your subconscious responds to you inside of life, how you train your subconscious for your success. We do a lot of that inside of our operation. I do a lot of it anyway. I won't say we, but I do a lot of that when I'm with my people in the company. I do a lot of that for myself, and the people who get to be around me, I get to practice that with them so that when we get aligned, they get aligned for themselves. All right. And what that means is that they go in the direction that they want to go in life. 100%, they're all in. Right. And some of those things that we would think that would deliver that they're they're not things that we would think that would deliver that. Like when I say put a two in the chat and you put a two in the chat, you speak to your subconscious, say, yes, I'm all in with my life and my business. Now, if you don't do that, when I make that request, here's the other flip side of that. It's like you're telling yourself, I don't want the success. Subconsciously on that level, you're telling yourself you don't want the success. So that's why I'm giving you an opportunity to do that. And this is 100% an opportunity to do that. And I see your twos coming in, guys. So I acknowledge you for that when you put the two in the chat, because that says something for, progress in life. When you do that for yourself, I'm in the presence of people who want to do that for themselves. That makes me in association with the people that I want to be in association with to move my life forward. And that's also another subconscious anchoring, we get to establish here together on these calls, right? And that's another conversation, but I'm hoping that you get exactly why I'm doing the things that I'm doing when I say, engage and put that in the chat. Okay. It is for you. It's not for anything else but for you. Okay. Now, with that being the case, you're here, you want to understand it, and and make sure you implement it 100%. So how do we do that? What do we need to know? We need to know basics, money flow. So one of the things I got to share with somebody, a business owner, and I took it for granted that I think like a lot of people understand this 100%, but really they don't. Right? So I'm not going to take it for granted that everybody in this call understands these basic principles that I want to go over in terms of money flow. Now, I want to speak from an accounting perspective for like in this section of it. And I don't want you to get taken out by the fact that this is accounting. I'm going to keep it as simple as possible, though. Okay. As simple as possible, because it's not just accounting, it is money flow, and it's life and finances. Money flow, life, and finances. Okay. And here's what it gets to be. Okay. First thing I want to talk about here is like how money flows. Like there's only a few ways that money can actually flow and move. First, there are 5 basic ways that money can move in and out of a business. And it's the same thing in your personal life. And we pay attention to it. Okay. So here's the pattern of money flow. I call it the big 5. Or the fundamental 5 is what I call it. Assets, liabilities, equity, income, expenses. Anytime money flows, it's going to be in one of these categories. Okay. Anytime money flows is going to be in one of these categories. Why is this important to know? Okay. Because if I don't understand like how to categorize and measure how money or value flows throughout my business, then I won't understand how to create goals for what looks good inside my business. I won't understand how to manipulate the activity in a direction that serves me if I don't understand what I'm looking at here, all right, or understanding what those things are. Okay. And so from a foundational aspect of it, I want to understand complete money flow. It can only be one of these 5 things. Okay. It's either going to flow to assets, from assets. It's going to flow to liabilities or from liabilities. It's either going to flow to equity or from equity. It's either going to flow to income or from income. Do that too. It's either going to flow to expenses or even from expenses. Okay. Can do that as well. This is the complete picture of finance right here. Okay. In a nutshell, in the basic foundational aspect anyway. All right. And this is how money moves. This is how value moves. Okay. Now, if I understand this, well, then I can start asking myself some questions about, well, what looks good and what doesn't look good when it comes to this. For example, assets are anything that really holds value. I like, give Robert Kiyosaki a shout out because he wrote, Rich Dad Poor Dad was one of my most transformative books earlier on, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I don't know if you guys have remember that, if you guys have read that, but he talked about this in a unique way. He said, assets put money in your pocket. And that's what he says about that. And, it's great because assets can put money in your pocket. They do, like in terms of making a business decision. And we want to have that also, we want to have that distinction also. For this purpose, I want to define assets in terms of whatever holds value. What does that mean? $1, a dollar bill is an asset, right? It's a value. What is the value of it? $1. That's an asset, holds value. If I have it, then I have a $1 value added to my finances. Okay. But what else is like that? And what else is like that? Well, I can have real estate, buildings, land, improvements, all those things, they hold value. Okay. And they associated worth with it, right? There's a worth with that. Okay. All right. So the first thing I said was a dollar, and the dollar holds value. Two, I said real estate, and the real estate holds value. These two things are assets. Now, I want to talk about what it looks like to have things that are current assets versus fixed assets so that we understand how to kind of really maneuver finances when it comes to assets. All right. So if you're not familiar with current assets, okay, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. Okay. You have two different types, current and fixed. All right. So current assets are what we call liquid assets. They're easily spendable. What we say is that if they're cash or cash equivalents, right? Things that are cash or cash equivalents, or things that can be converted to that very fast, usually typically within a year. Okay. So, for example, money in my bank account is what we call a current asset. I can spend that. It's cash money in the bank. It's cash. It's easily spendable. Okay. I need this. You guys know you need this. Okay, you need this to be able to run your businesses, right? To run your fleet, to run your business. You need to spend you need to spend cash on wages. Your people need to get paid, right? You need to spend wages on fuel. You need to spend cash on fuel. Maintenance costs, you're going to need cash to do that. You're going to need cash to pay for hotels when there are breakdowns, right? And people need to have a stay and an overnight while the equipment gets fixed, right? So we need cash to pay for those things. We're going to need cash for lumpers, to pay lumper fees and all down the line. And all these other fees that we have to spend on, right? But if I didn't have cash in the bank, I wouldn't be able to do it. But cash is what we call a current asset. These are important for us to move in and out, like in terms of spendability, and we call it liquidity, right? Having cash, access to cash, or things that are easily converted to cash. Things like that could also be accounts receivable, right? So you do a job, you perform a load, but you don't get paid for it yet. You actually issue some credit. You say you can pay me in 30 days. You can pay me in 30 days or less. Well, that's an accounts receivable. That's also considered a current asset. It's just like cash because it's expected to be paid in 30 days or less, right? Anything's paid in less than a year is considered to be that current assets, okay? Now, why is that important? We're going to bring that back again in terms of, how much liquidity do you actually need to run your business, right? And now, if you created, like this year, you went out in 2025, you said, I want to really be successful and manage my cash flow appropriately. So what does that look like for you? It means that I'm able to operate easily. So what does it take to operate easily? Well, we need cash to operate easily. Well, how much cash is that? Well, I know that typically we're going to outflow and we're going to expense probably about 80 to $90,000 in a month. That's pretty much cash outlay every single month. We're going to spend out 80 to 90,000 if that's you. Okay. And and that will typically leave me, if you're operating pretty well, that'll leave you with probably an additional $10 to $20,000 profit left over, right? If you're doing okay. All right. So pretty good, right? But even if you're not doing that, guys, even if you're thinking like, well, I'm in a situation where like everything that we're bringing in, almost everything that we're bringing in revenue-wise, it seems like we're always spending it out. That could be the case. And it's kind of like a common theme. It seems like that with trucking, like your money is going to go out almost. at the degree that it comes in. Okay. But the idea here is when we get understanding of what it looks like to have mastery in current assets, it doesn't have to be the case because sometimes it is not exactly what you think it is. Okay. It's just a matter of, okay, we just need to shift. You're not spending out everything that you need. You don't have to anyway. You can actually get some control in there and start putting funds into place where you have cash growing month after month, right? And stop the bleeding. Okay. In a lot of cases that can be the thing. That's what we found. In a lot of cases, you can stop the bleeding. Okay. But now if we set a goal in terms of this is what I want in terms of current assets, we're looking at this, right? We want to start increasing assets. Now, if I didn't understand the fundamental of assets, I wouldn't even have the conversation of increasing them and what it looks like to increase them. Some people think it's just buying equipment. But what if I focused on making sure that we were good operationally, which means that we have enough cash in the bank to operate? Well, what does that look like? 90 grand a month is what it looks like when you outlay cash. Well, can I actually create it so that I have 3 months of that in the bank so that I can operate easily? Well, okay, well, that means I just need to create 100 and I need to create $270,000 is what I need to create in cash in the bank to operate. Well, how do I do that? Well, that's going to be the next question. It's like, oh, to answer. Now we have a direction and like an action plan, a game plan called create $270,000 in the bank. Okay. Now, because we created that intention, there are going to be a series of actions that we can start like getting magnetized to that will deliver on that intention. Right. And get all this, guys. It all became, and this is all a result of just understanding what assets are, but beyond that, understanding what current assets are. So we set a target, $270,000 in the bank. All right. Now we need to buy when? Okay. 2025, by the end of this year, that's what I want to have. I'm tired of dealing with the same year over and over again. I want to make sure that by the end of this year, we have 3 months operating in the bank. So what is that going to take? All right. It's going to take me taking some of these profits that I'm making. If you're somebody who has, like what I said in the beginning, of $20,000 net profit in a month, it's like, okay, well, what does that look like? I can actually stack away this 20,000, right? This profit in each month. I can cut some things personally and I can stack away this profit over the next 12 months. Really, I could get really close to that goal. Okay. That's how it could be. But what if you're not doing that? That's okay too, because now, because we have the intention is that there are a whole new series of actions that make themselves available, like how to raise capital for your business. Okay. How do you do that? How do you create capital? Well, now we get to sell the prosperity and the success of the business to people as partners in that in terms of equity. We could do that too. Create some shares. If you're an S corp, you can do that. As long as you have less than 100, you can do that. Have less than like you can have some shareholders, okay, and have those shareholders contribute capital, and the benefit of that is I get a share of the profits of the business, right? You could also create it as a note, right? You can take a lot. We could do a liability, right? You say, okay, well, I'm going to issue some bonds, and I'm going to have some specific terms on these bonds for my company that says, okay, nothing is going to be due for the first 5 years. Okay. But at the end of that 5 years, you're going to get your face value, your principal back, plus 10% interest per annum. Okay. So it's going to compound in there like you could say simple interest or compounding interest, whatever the terms it is that you want. But at the end of the term, you can pay them back. But guess what? You can start getting bonds to finance your goal of having 3 months operating in the bank. But none of this would be available to you in terms of choices if we did not understand the fundamental of current assets. Okay. And this is what I really want you to get. Okay. That these will deliver, like understanding delivers outcomes. Fundamental understanding delivers outcomes in life. Okay. So current assets, things that are cash equivalents, or anything that's converted to that within a year. Okay. Fixed assets are not convertible to cash or cash equivalents in a year, typically. We call it fixed assets or plant assets. These are things that hold value, but they're more so like equipment, machinery. These are assets that are used to produce things and produce income, rather generate income inside of your business. In this conversation is for your fleet. And fixed assets, they hold tremendous value. You would have to, they really take like a huge investment to get them. They take transferring a lot of cash into them to buy these or to acquire these fixed assets. And then it takes a lot to get them sold. Okay. You'd have to put that list, you have to list it for sale, wait for the buyers to give you the right price for it, and then agree to that and go to a closing and liquidate that fixed asset, but it takes time to do that. It's not spendable as it is. Okay, like you can't sit there and spend your truck. You can't say, okay, I'm going to buy fuel for this truck. Okay, it doesn't work like that. All right, but these are things that hold tremendous value. They're still assets and they're very important as well because for the most part, your fixed assets in your business want to generate more revenue for you. They want to generate income for you. Okay. Now, if it is doing that, then we call it a performing asset, is what we do. We call that a performing asset. If it does not do that for you, then we call it a non-performing asset. Okay. But fixed assets are, assets that hold value, but they're not easily converted to cash or cash equivalents in less than a year. Okay. These are things like machinery, equipment, real estate, other property, tangible property, and down the line. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense, guys. If that makes sense to you right now, if that resonates with you, if you're actually understanding what I'm talking about, put a 3 in the chat. If you're actually understanding what I'm putting down in terms of these fundamentals, okay? I want to know that you're getting this, guys. All right. And one of the things, one of the reasons I'm doing this tonight is because I saw it. I saw when somebody got access to understanding what this is for their business. I saw the light bulbs go off. Okay. And when I see that, it's like, yeah, that's what people want. People want to get that. People want to have those light bulbs go off so that they can have a direction, like they can eliminate a lot of confusion about what they're doing. In this case, somebody just wanted to keep up with their bookkeeping, right? They wanted to keep up with their bookkeeping, but it wasn't just keeping up with their bookkeeping. It was like, I want to grow my business so that it's a legacy. How do I know if I'm moving in that direction? Well, this is how you know. This is how you know. This is what we can measure, we can manage. And what we can manage, we can master. So technically, what we can measure, we can master inside of this. And now, because we understand the fundamentals of money flow, and specifically in assets right now, today, yeah, you're welcome, Baxter. Specifically, since we know what we know now today in this conversation, there's a track that we can get on to deliver that legacy down the line. Okay. And that's what we want at the end of the day. We want to have that legacy for the efforts that we put into it. We want to have everything that we work so hard for to be realized out here forever, and because when we build something, it's fantastic. We get to have it. We get to have that, and we get to create that powerfully forever in life. All right. So I'm beginning this conversation with you guys. I'm breaking down the fundamentals of finance, and I think I want to stay here with you guys because I want you to get how it translates to what you're doing every day and how you can create goals that are in line with the outcomes that you want in life in this area, like this business that you have. You can start creating real good, tangible goals to work toward and create strategies. We call it intention, right? Creating intention to deliver on these things moving forward. Okay. All right. That's our time for tonight. Guess what? You got current and fixed assets tonight, man. We're going to talk about liabilities in the next one. I'm going to keep going down the line with this, guys, and see how you can deploy this because it's pretty cool how you can leverage all these bits and pieces of understanding about financial literacy into a real significant game plan to get a high degree probability outcome for yourself. All right. Guys, it's been great being with you tonight. Have a great rest of your week. See you next Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.